Meet Dr. Mary O'Hara Devereaux, an internationally known futurist, keynote speaker, and strategy guide. She can help you discover answers to these and many more questions. Take a moment to learn how Mary has helped dozens of global companies ensure their survival in the volatile global marketplace.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our featured speaker for this afternoon, welcoming Dr. Mary O'Hara Devereaux.
The future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed. Globalization is here to stay. This is the global business forecast over the next 15 or 20 years. It's not just one trend or one driver, it's how they work together. And as they begin to work together, they get much more powerful and change accelerate. The big issue isn't forecasting the economy, that's easy to do. The big issue is how do we build a vibrant society that matches the potential that this knowledge and global economy is providing us. If you don't, the future will get created, but you're not going to create it for yourself, and it's not likely to be on this side of the scenario options. We have to do nothing short but reinvent civil society.
Dr. Mary O'Hara Devereaux's keynotes and briefings are based on primary research that she and her experienced team conduct all around the world. These cutting-edge insights help you achieve bottom-line results. Access to her forecasts are critical in these turbulent times, a period of extreme volatility that Mary calls the Badlands. This transition zone between eras will continue for the next 10 to 20 years. Learn from Mary how you and your company can not only survive, but thrive in the most challenging business environment of the last 1,000 years.
We are in a very big historical cycle of disruptive innovation. I think this one is about 75 years long. We're about 50 years into it, and what you are here, that's us. We are all here, and we're in what's called the Badlands. And the Badlands actually is a transition zone between eras. So if you think about the great industrial plains that we just left in not too graceful a fashion, and then you think about the future, which is really, from an economic standpoint, sort of a more dominant knowledge-based economy, which is rapidly diffusing around the world, we have to get from here to there. And so what has to happen in the middle of this transition zone that we call the Badlands is that everything breaks down. And that's why it's so tough today, because so many things that we relied on in the past no longer seem to be such good indicators of the future. So what happens, in the short story about this, we went back, this is based on about 6 or 7 years of research. We went back and mapped 10 big cycles of disruptive innovation. We went back to the Bronze Age in the 5th century BC and looked at the new technologies there, which were writing. You can just imagine, what was it like when you couldn't write? And then what happened when writing became adopted in society and all the other things that came after that. And so the story is that in these big cycles of disruptive innovation, you get new technologies. The new technologies begin to grab hold. You begin to get surges of new technologies. The technologies then impact the economy, and the economy goes through a big structural shift, which basically means it changes along all the major dimensions of whatever that economy is. What jobs are, how organizations are structured, what happens in capital markets. And then what happens after that is you continue to get new technologies, surges of new technologies. And where we are today, if you look at that blue line, all the social institutions begin to fail. And that's what we're experiencing today: healthcare, education, the criminal justice system, the governmental systems. How many of you are having this sense today that things seem to be falling apart? Is there anyone who thinks things aren't falling apart? It's always fun to hear from the contrarian. It's amazing when you think about it. And in some ways you think, oh, this is a terrible time to be alive. But in some ways, it's an exciting time to be alive. How many groups of humans really have the opportunity to reinvent society? We haven't had a disruptive cycle of innovation this big since the Middle Ages, 1,000 years ago. And if you remember the Middle Ages, when all of knowledge was locked up in the church, and you couldn't get knowledge out of the church, and so people didn't know how to think in very deep ways or interact very easily. And then we got the printing technologies, and all of a sudden all the knowledge was able to move out of the church, not just into the hands of people in, sort of in other kinds of common venues, but they were able finally, because of the penny press, to actually take information and knowledge into their homes. That totally transformed society, how people thought about themselves, their whole sense of human identity completely changed. And what they did after the Middle Ages was they had a renaissance. So what we actually have before us, we actually have the opportunity to have another renaissance. Now, I think that's exciting.
Mary O'Hara Devereaux has worked extensively in both private business and the public sector in over 50 countries on 7 continents. She has extensive hands-on research and business forecasting experience in China. Mary is a professor at Beijing University and is a leading expert on what is now the largest emerging marketplace in the world. Mary is the author of several best-selling books, including her most recent, Navigating the Badlands, Thriving in the Decade of Radical Transformation, and her groundbreaking China 5-Year Forecast, Creating the New Marketplace. One of the main benefits of Mary's keynotes are consistently reliable forecasts. These practical tools provide early warning about new opportunities and obstacles, are customized for you and your business, and can be put into action immediately. Mary has extensive experience providing reliable, insightful looks into the future. If you want to enjoy these valuable benefits and experience an early look at 8 big surprises that will dramatically impact your business and your life, book Mary today.